I thought I would kick the vlog off with this happy girl. Yeah, we're still in our jammies. We still have our Hanukkah jammies on. But look at that cute smile. Hi, sweet girl. Yeah. Yeah. Good morning. Good morning. You're so cute. Well, this is the first clip I've done today besides that cute one of Lila. And it's 1:32. I just felt like this morning, like there was nothing I wanted to share. I was just doing stuff. Mom stuff, work stuff, like nothing exciting, and I didn't really make a plan for today. I'm just kind of just doing things as they pop into my head. I do know today at some point though I want to make 2 lists. One is the list of things that I need to get done work-wise before the end of the year. In the past, I've kind of been forced to take time off because I've been here visiting and we have done all kinds of fun things, and I also don't have access to all my work things. I can do a lot of stuff remotely, but like it was different. Like when I was traveling here visiting for Christmas time, kind of the forced time off, versus this year, I feel like I'm going to have to be a little bit more intentional about taking time off. So I want to take that week, the full week between Christmas and New Year's, just with Christmas falling on a Monday, right? Yeah. It just kind of lends itself nicely to like the Friday before, wrapping everything up. If you listen to the podcast episode with my sister from last week where we talked about our family plans for the holidays, we're celebrating Christmas with my mom and family on Saturday the 23rd. So like being done by Friday the 22nd with all the work stuff so that I can enjoy that week and not really think about work. So one list is all the work things I need to get done in order for that week off to happen. And then the other list, which some of you might be able to relate and some of you are going to roll your eyes at me probably, is the things I'd like to do that week. But those are like the personal things I'd like to do. I'd like to wash my makeup brushes to start the year fresh. I'm gonna finally move Charlie's litter box out of my office. Like that's not a priority that I get done before Christmas, but it's something that I wanna do between Christmas and New Year's. So I'm gonna try to next week just like focus it all in on work. And then also like what are the must-have Christmas things, like getting some things in the mail. And then the next week, do the fun / household personally type stuff, if that makes sense. So at some point today, I'm gonna make those 2 lists. But the first thing I need to do today is get some things filmed. I'm starting to film like my year-end wrap-up videos today, even though it is only December 15th. That is how it works with timing and all of the things. So my mom is here for a couple of hours to watch Lila. So while I have her help, I am going to power through filming a couple of videos. And the background will look beautiful and lovely like this. Meanwhile, the other side is this. My desk looks like right now. When I caught up on December Daily the other day, and I did not caught up, who am I kidding? I did 3 days the other day, but then I never cleaned it up. Was that Wednesday? Yeah, that was Wednesday. So, okay, to the filming. All right, quickly interrupting my own filming to share something in the vlog, something I will talk about in a future video with the same when you see the shirt. But I just want to talk about it in the vlog because I think it's important to hear now, both for myself to talk about it maybe a little more and then also for you to hear. What I talked about was, as we are planning for the New Year, as I am planning for the New Year, I am planning with what I know now, right? I am planning the New Year with the information and the knowledge that I know now. And some of that knowledge is knowing that things are going to change, right? I am starting the New Year with a 4-month-old. She will be 4 months on January 1st. Then I will be ending the year with a 16-month-old. That is a huge change. That is like almost going from no baby to baby is a big change, but going from a 4-month-old to a 16-month-old is a huge change. So much about her life is going to be so different. What she eats, when she sleeps, how much she sleeps, what she needs. There's just so much that's going to look different. And so I have to keep that in mind when I'm planning, is knowing that life is going to be different and I'm going to need a level of flexibility that I haven't likely needed in the past. And also just knowing that it's okay that I can change my mind throughout the year. I feel like in the past I've been so, I don't even know if concrete is the right word, but like these are my plans for the year and I feel good about them and like these are my plans. And that just can't be the case anymore. That's just not how life is anymore. And whether it is known things that you know are gonna change in your 2024 or unknown things, because life will change, it'll throw curveballs at you and things will change, you can plan out the year to the best of your ability with the knowledge that you have now and be okay that it's probably gonna change at some point next year, whether you know it or you don't. I feel like I have more to say on that topic, but now I can't think of what it is. And I really need to get back to filming because now I have an hour and 15 minutes before my mom needs to leave. All right, filming is done. I have a little bit of time before my mom is leaving. So I thought I would, and because I know I haven't really vlogged a whole lot in this video, I thought I would take some time to talk about reading and books. That was a big suggestion that a lot of you made when I was talking about what can I fill Vlogmas videos with on days that are not as exciting. And so I'm gonna talk about books and reading, and I'm gonna do it in two parts. We're gonna talk about 2023, and then we're gonna talk about 2024. So 2023 was the first year I finally lowered my book goal for the first time in a long time. For many years, like ever since I started using Goodreads, my book goal was 50. For whatever reason, that just felt right. And some years I hit it and some years I didn't. One year I got like really close and hit 49, but that was always my goal. And I knew going into 2023, I feel like at this point in the year, I'm mixing up what year I'm trying to talk about. I knew I wanted to set a lower number. I knew reading was not gonna be as much of a priority between moving and running the business and hopefully having a baby. And I talk about this in my the video I just filmed was like my 2023 recap. And I know I've said this before. When I set my goals for 2023, I did not know that I was going to be pregnant at the very beginning of the year. I was still not pregnant when I set those goals. And so I'm pretty sure I was also not pregnant when I set my reading goal. But I knew I wanted to lower it a little bit. So I lowered it. I'm gonna tell you, I have like all my notes written down. I lowered it to 36 books, and my mindset was this. I was gonna read one nonfiction book a month. So like whether it was a business book or a personal development book, I was gonna focus on one nonfiction and then 2 fiction. Because I'd gotten into the habit of reading before bed, I was gonna get myself through 2 fiction books a month. That was my goal. Where am I at actually? As of December 15th, I am at 29 books, which honestly, I feel really, really good about. And I will show you in a second. I made a little chart of how many I read each month, and you can see the like kind of inconsistencies within reading. So 29 books, I'm not gonna hit 36. In fact, there's one book that I'm trying to finish before the end of the year. I'll tell you what that is in a little bit. But what I'm at right now is 14 nonfiction. So actually pretty close to the original goal of 12, and 5 fiction. 5. That's not right, like that math didn't check. And 15 fiction. So almost exactly half and half. And the fiction number is the one that's obviously way lower. And I think part of that was I struggled to get into some fiction books this year, and ultimately kind of got myself back into reading by rereading some fiction that I really loved. And then part of it was just time and exhaustion. I was exhausted at the beginning of my pregnancy. I mean, I was exhausted for a lot of my pregnancy. And so I didn't read as much as I had in the past. So let me pop up this little chart that I made that shows I didn't finish my first book until April. And I only finished that book because my mom and sister and future sister-in-law, we started a book club. And so I had to finish the book to be a part of this book club. And that was the only book I read until June. I finished one more, same reason, for said book club. And then in July, I finally got back into it. But at the end of June, I was at 2 books for the whole year. And then I finally got back into it. And there were a couple things that really helped with that. One was, like I said, rereading a fiction series that I loved that I knew would help me get back into that. Part of it was discovering audiobooks and listening to some nonfiction on audiobooks, especially like biographies. I started listening to those a lot. And then I really started to finalize reading some pregnancy and baby books that I had bought in like January and then put off. But you can see here that my progress in reading wasn't consistent. It wasn't like I read the same number of books every single month to get myself to the number that I'm at. Some months were really reading heavy. July was really heavy also because we went on vacation and I read a lot on that trip. And then some months, obviously September, I had a newborn. I think those 2 fiction books I finished in September were the Harry Potter audiobooks that I read during nighttime feeds. So anyways, overall though, I feel really good about the 29 books that I have finished in 2023. Let's talk about 2024. I am cutting my reading goal by more than half. I love to read, don't get me wrong, and it makes me so happy. But there are just other ways that I do want to spend my time in 2024. And so I won't be prioritizing and putting as much pressure on myself to finish a bunch of books. So what I've decided to do is not only set my reading goal at 15 books, that's it, 15 books for 2024, but I've picked the 15 books that I want to read in 2024. I'm picking them now instead of letting myself pick them throughout the year, which I hope is going to help a lot having them picked in advance. So I have them broken down into 3 categories, and there's 5 books in each category. So the first category is business. So these are the 5 business related books that I want to read in 2024. The first one I actually have the physical copy of, and it's Fix This Next from Mike. I'm not going to say his last name right. I have recommended his book Profit First before. I love that book, and that might end up being a reread at some point, not next year, but in the near future. I have started this book. You can see there's sticky notes. I have tried, oh, actually, maybe that's where I am. That's like way more than halfway. I don't remember when I started this book, and we're just gonna go and take that out. I am in these sticky notes, taking them off. This, I guess, is a half of a reread, but I wanna read this business book in 2024. The next one is a book that I kind of read, did I read it in 22 or 23? As a beta reader, and then she released the physical copy in 23, and I didn't read it. It's not in my Goodreads, like it doesn't count towards my 29 because I just read like a beta copy, and that is Chasing Simple Marketing by my friend and coach Amanda Warfield. I talked about her in a vlog that went up a couple of days ago, but I'm excited to read her book in 2024. God, the years, I just keep messing them up. But this is, I have the physical copy, and I'm excited to read this one. The next business book that I have a physical copy of was actually a gift from Amanda Warfield. I think it was her, she usually gifts her clients, her like one-on-one clients, a book at the end of the year. And this was the one that I think she gave like December of 2022, and that is Chill and Prosper. I just love this cover, but I'm really excited about this book. I think that one of the things I am really leaning into, and I need to talk about this more and figure out what venue I'm going to talk about it or when I'm going to talk about it, is spending time in my business that is important to move the needle, but not more than that, because my daughter is my #1 priority now. So, and I think that book is going to help me with that. The other 2 business related books I don't have the physical copy of. The first one is Essentialism. I also started this book at one point. I got it from the library years ago and then had to return it before I finished it. I actually have it on hold at the library now to listen to the audiobook format. And then the other one is a business related book that I have wanted to read for a long time. I actually have it in the category of mental health on Goodreads, but I think it will help me from a business standpoint in working with you and talking about your goals, and that is The Gap and the Gain. And I don't have that one physically yet. I haven't decided if I am going to buy it physically or try to listen to the audiobook format. For me, for business books, it needs to be one of those 2 things. I don't want to read a digital, like on my Kindle version. All right, let's talk about nonfiction books. So the 5 nonfiction books I've picked for 2024 are related to the goals that I have in 2024, which I obviously haven't shared with you yet. So this is kind of a sneak peek at some of my goals. So the first one is The Lazy Genius Kitchen, and I am so excited about this book. Y'all, this book is so pretty. Like, it is so beautiful. I'm very, very excited to read this book. The other one that I have a physical copy of is How to Manage Your Home Without Losing Your Mind. If you have heard me talk before about decluttering at the speed of life, highly recommend that book. If decluttering is on your goals list, that book is a must read. Same author. I have not read this book by her, but I got this one physical. The other 3 books I currently have on hold at the library to get the audio version of. The first one is The 5th Trimester. Highly recommended by some other new moms that I've met. The next one is Set Boundaries, Find Peace. I have had this book on my list for years. I started listening to her audiobook, or not her audiobook, her podcast this year. Loved that, and so wanted to prioritize her book. And then the last one is Good Inside. Same concept. Started listening to the author's podcast, loving it, so wanted to prioritize her book. Those 3 I have the audiobook on hold at the library. If I decide that I really love them, I will buy the physical copy. Same thing with Essentialism, the business books, Essentialism and The Gap and the Gain. If I decide that I really love the audiobook, The Gap and the Gain, I still might purchase the physical book before, but we'll see. And then the last category is fiction. And so before we get into the 5 fiction books I want to read in 2024, I have to tell you that the one book I want to finish in 23 is Harry Potter 5. We have been listening to the Harry Potter audiobooks, Lila and I, and we are maybe halfway-ish through 5 at this point. So hopefully I will finish that by the end of the month. And then the first 2 fiction books on my list are to read Harry Potter 6 and Harry Potter 7, and these will be audiobook format. For the most part, I don't ever foresee myself being a fiction audiobook person for a book I haven't read yet, But for a book I have read, especially a book like Harry Potter that I've read however many times in my life, and one that is so well narrated, oh my gosh, the narrator's amazing. I am excited to read those or listen to them next year. The next two on my list are the ever popular, probably the most popular books from this year, fiction books, and that is The Fourth Wing and Iron Flame. And man, everybody is talking about those books. And I originally was holding out because I was like, do I really want to read a series that's not done yet? And that's what stopped me from reading Fourth Wing before Iron Flame came out. And now that Iron Flame came out and people are loving the second one, I'm like, all right, let me go ahead and read the first two. I have put them both on hold at the library. My goal is to read just the digital version, and then kind of the same thing. If I love them, I might buy or ask for the physical version as a gift, because my guess is when the next ones come out, I'm going to want to reread them before the next ones come out. And then the last fiction book that I want to read is A Court of Thorns and Roses. Now, I do have the Kindle version that I purchased when I tried to read this book. It wasn't last year. It was maybe the year before that. It was maybe even the year before that. And I couldn't get into it. My sister has the physical copy that she is reading right now. I'm hoping to borrow said physical copy and hoping that the physical version of the book, where I can kind of flip back to characters and reference things, will be a little bit easier. My sister and I have a podcast episode coming up soon about reading, and we talk a little bit about that book in that podcast episode. And that was one of the things I say, is that book, I feel like, at least for me, there's so many characters and I'm kind of confused. And when I'm reading, I do love reading fiction on my Kindle. When I'm reading it on my Kindle, I can't flip back to prior pages and like reference things. So I'm hoping that the physical copy of the book will help with that. And since she already bought it, I am just gonna borrow it. So those 15 books are my goal. That's my goal, those 15 books for 2024. I have a maybe honorable mention category of 5 more books that I'm gonna talk about. The first one is The Daily Stoic. Now, this is not a maybe in the sense that I'm not gonna read this book. I'm gonna read this book next year. I'm not gonna read every page of this book though, because I have mentioned this before. It is really hard for you to do something every single day. Life is so unpredictable. Children are not, working for yourself, whatever it is that you have going on in your life, we all have our own things. Your life is unpredictable. Your energy is unpredictable. So doing something every single day is really, really difficult, if not, dare I say, impossible. So am I gonna read this book in its entirety? No, because it is a dated book. If you've never heard me talk about this, it is a dated book. It has an entry, 1 page, like this, for every, like 1 page for every day. I started this book in 2020 and read however much of it in 2020. Loved it. It was the foundation of my morning routine. It made a huge difference, I think, in my mental space. Read it again in 2021. Loved it then too, but decided I needed a break. And the last 2 years I have tried to find a daily read that I liked as much, and I just cannot. And since my life has changed so much since the last time I read this, I mean, I was still working my corporate job. We lived in New York. I obviously didn't have a child. Like, my life has changed so much. So I bought a fresh copy. My other copy is still sitting over there with lots of highlights and lots of notes and lots of thoughts, but I wanted a fresh version for fresh notes and fresh thoughts. Some of these books, a lot of them I got during the Target sale when they were doing the buy 2, get 1 free at Target. So I'm excited to read this. So it's not a maybe in the sense like, am I gonna read this book? It's a maybe in the sense that, am I gonna count it on my Goodreads when I know I'm not gonna read every page? Probably not. The other 4 in this category are actual maybe. So 2 I have in person, and that is the daily devotionals from Emily Lay. So it's Sure as the Sunrise is like the morning one, and Near in the Night is the nighttime one. And I say that they're daily devotionals, but there's only 100 of them. So it's not something that you, isn't that right? Like, there's 100 of them. So it's not something that you read, like, you're not gonna read every day for the whole year. But it is something I could see myself like on work days, like starting with this, because that is like 100 work days. I mean, I'm gonna, now that I'm like thinking about that math, I'm gonna have more than 100 work days in 2024. But anyways, one of my thoughts is this one. I've been eyeing this one like since she launched it. And then when she launched the nighttime one, I was like, oh, I want them both. But if you've been around, you know, I'm a morning person. My morning routine, got it down, awesome. Can absolutely fit this in if I wanted to. My nighttime routine, different story. I think they're all just, I think it's also, yeah, it's 1 page, like, you know, this long. I could fit this in if I wanted to. So trying to decide if I'm gonna try to fit those in. If I am, I probably am not gonna start them on January 1st. I'm gonna start this one on January 1st and not the other 2. But those are maybes in general. Because it is not a dated book, it's just 100, I will, if I get through all 100 pages in the year, I will count it towards my books. Then, the other maybe on my list is the cook's book. And this is actually, I think it's actually like a cookbook, but there's more to it than it being a cookbook. Like the Lazy Genius Kitchen, this is not a cookbook. This is like how to lazy genius things in the kitchen. The cook's book, I think, is a cookbook. I feel like I'm saying that a million times. I wanted to buy it. Actually, I had it in my cart during the Target sale and then it sold out. So that one is a maybe on if I decide to buy it. That one is a maybe like if I finish my other books. So while these would not ever, like they're not, it's different than when I would read those other books. The cook's book would be if I finish my other nonfiction books in that category, then I could go on and read the cook's book. So I do feel like I have like what's next in each of those, that decision already made. That way, if I finish those 5, I have a next step. So for nonfiction, it would be the cook's book. For fiction, the next one would be the next book in the Court of Thorns and Rose series. Then for business, the maybe book is the next one in the step. And that is whatever the next book is by this author. So the concept of this book is he wrote all these other books like Profit First, The Pumpkin Plan, which I do have, that was gifted to me, Clockwork, and I feel like there's more. And what he talks about in this book is like, here's the book you should go read next, or here's what you should fix next. And so if I finish all my business books, which actually makes me think I should do this one last. Like I should do those other business books first and then do this one last. And then if I want to, or if depending on where we're at in the year, then maybe the next book I go read is the next one by him that follows the end of this book, if that makes sense. So, okay, that was a lot. That clip was a lot longer than I thought it was going to be, but I think that's going to be the majority of this vlog anyways. And I thought for those of you who like to read that it would be interesting. So first off, you can always follow me on Goodreads and you're always going to be able to see what I am reading and then my reviews when I finish those books. I'm not good about writing like actual words, but you can see my star rating on a 1 to 5. So though, like that hasn't changed. You can come follow me on Goodreads. I am going to try talking about books in the lives next year. That's gonna be my plan. But you already know what's coming. Like these are the books I'm reading in 2024. So that's the plan. Let me know down in the comments, what book are you excited to read in the new year? I wanna hear it from you. Not that I clearly need any more on my list, but I wanna hear in the comments what books you're excited about for the new year. Hello. I feel like I have vlogged absolutely nothing today. I know the vlog will be long enough with the books clip, but I feel like that's all this vlog is gonna be today. And that might be true, that might be true. This little girl has the hiccups down here. We just ordered some Thai food for dinner and we are hanging out in the nursery, getting some clothes put away and just hanging out a little bit, yeah. And I mean, today has literally been like the same old, and I just feel like a lot of Vlogmas lately has kind of been that. I feel like, and I don't know if that, like I feel like I feel that, is that right? Yeah. I feel like I feel that every year. Like I don't feel like that's unique to this year with her, but I feel like it might be slightly more exacerbated with a 3.5, she's 15 weeks today, 3.5-month-old, in that we're not going anywhere exciting, or I'm not just going places to go places for the vlog, which I definitely used to do in New York. In New York, my arm is already tired. There were definitely years in Vlogmas where I would go places just to go places to include it in the vlog, and I'm not doing that this year, mostly because of this little one, but also I'm kind of just over that. I'm gonna vlog my everyday, and today my everyday has been the same old. I folded a little laundry, I filmed some videos when my mom was here, I took care of this tiny human, and now ordering dinner because nobody wants to cook on Friday night. And yeah, what do you think about that? So yeah, I feel like I just needed another clip in here, even though I have no idea. The rest of the evening, we're gonna eat our dinner. I'm gonna put her to bed eventually. Yeah, and I mean, I may do a little bit of work. Sam is actually, he's still working. He relocated to the couch, but he's still working, trying to get some things done because we've got a whole day of stuff planned for tomorrow. And because I have my workshop call early, not early, I mean, it's at 10 a.m. my time, but it's early enough that I'm not going to stay up super late tonight. Yeah. What do you think? I don't know if you guys can hear her in the background. All right. We started Love Actually. I was intending to only watch like half of it and then go to bed, but I got sucked in. And as with every movie, it feels like since becoming a parent, I just look at movies differently than I used to. But I did get through those 2 lists that I talked about earlier. So the list of work things that I want to get through next week in order to feel like I can relax and take the week off, and then the things I want to do around the house and to like prep for the new year during that week off. So those lists are in good shape. And now, even though it's a little later than I planned, I'm gonna get to bed so that I can get up and do the last goal setting workshop tomorrow. I cannot believe the last one is tomorrow. I feel like there was one more thing I was gonna tell you in this vlog, and now I forgot, but I will see you tomorrow. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, please click that subscribe button. I upload new videos every week focused on helping you achieve your goals and every day here during Vlogmas. See you tomorrow. Last year, hold on, let me try that sentence again. Share something, the camera's about to die. My goal, that's my goal. Those,